Have you ever wondered why you feel everything more intensely than others seem to? Why you question things no one else seems to notice? Why surface-level relationships and small talk feel draining or even unbearable? Carl Jung believed that not all minds are built the same. Some individuals possess a rare psychological structure, one that allows them to see, feel, and understand at a level most never reach. These people, often misunderstood by society, experience reality in a way that's deeper, more symbolic and often more painful, but also more real. According to Jung, these rare individuals aren't here to conform. They're here to transform from the inside out. If you've ever felt too much for the world, stay with me. Because what follows could change how you understand your entire life. In this video, we'll explore 8 powerful signs rooted in Jung's original psychological theories that may indicate you have one of the rarest and most psychologically complex personality types he ever studied. These traits aren't random. They reveal something essential about your mind, your emotions, and your deeper purpose. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to the Mental Dose channel and join our Telegram community, where you'll get early access to new videos and deeper insights into personality, self-discovery, and transformation. Now, let's begin. 1. You feel with a depth that most people can't understand. To many, emotions are passing moods, but for you, emotions can feel like tidal waves, surging through your body, mind, and even your sense of reality. You don't just feel sadness, you inhabit it. Joy isn't just pleasure, it's transcendence. Jung referred to this as affect-laden experience, where emotional responses become archetypal, mythic in scale. This kind of emotional intensity is often mistaken for fragility, but in Jungian psychology it's the opposite. It signals psychological depth and a high level of feeling function development. You're not being dramatic. You're wired to perceive emotional truth with precision. You may intuit tension before anyone speaks. You may sense conflict beneath someone's smile. You don't live on the surface, and it shows. Yet society often pressures emotionally rich people to suppress or regulate themselves. Jung warned that this creates a split, a false self meant to survive, and a true self forced underground. True healing, he taught, doesn't come from silencing emotion, but from understanding and integrating it. Your depth isn't the problem, denying it is. 2. You question what others accept without thought. You've probably noticed that you ask why more than anyone around you. Not just out of curiosity, but because shallow explanations never satisfy you. Why do people pretend to be happy? Why do we build lives we secretly hate? Why are we taught to follow without thinking? Jung saw this as a trait of the thinking function operating at a higher level. While most people live unconsciously, following inherited beliefs, roles, and cultural expectations, you resist autopilot. You interrogate systems, values, and social patterns, not because you want to rebel, but because you want truth. This, however, can come with a cost. You may be labeled difficult, negative, or overly analytical. But what's really happening is that your questions challenge the comfort zone of others. Jung called this the burden of individuation. Those who awaken first often walk alone, but they also light the way forward. 3. Independence isn't a trait, it's how you've survived. If you've had to become your own foundation, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, it's not because you wanted to be distant. It's because depending on others felt like psychological quicksand. Jung called this the early emergence of individuated consciousness, the moment when a person begins to define their identity from the inside out. You've likely learned, through adversity or rejection, that building your sense of worth externally is dangerous. And so you began the process of becoming whole. This doesn't mean you don't crave connection. It means you refuse to sacrifice your truth for it. You want companionship, not codependence. Partnership, not possession. But independence like this can confuse people. It challenges relational norms built on emotional dependency. Jung noted, that individuals who complete this part of the individuation process attract both admiration and hostility. Some see your autonomy as strength, others see it as a threat. But either way, you're not here to play a role. You're here to live your truth. 4. You intuitively perceive what others overlook. You don't always need people to tell you how they feel. You already know. You sense it in their posture, tone, timing, the way they walk into a room. Jung considered intuition a dominant psychological function in rare individuals. Perception via the unconscious, as he described it. While logic explains, intuition reveals. You can feel the emotional temperature of a room before anyone speaks. You notice the words someone doesn't say. You read energy more than language. This makes you a powerful observer, but it can also be draining. Intuitive people often become emotional mirrors for those around them, picking up tension, sadness or stress without knowing how to release it. Jung warned that this kind of psychic permeability must be managed. Without boundaries, you can lose yourself in the emotional field of others. But when used consciously, your intuition becomes a gift of deep insight. You see what's unsaid, you feel what's unresolved, and you offer a rare kind of perception the world desperately needs. 5. You're driven by meaning, not acceptance. For you, living without meaning isn't just uncomfortable, it's unbearable. You may have tried to chase the traditional metrics of success, status, approval, safety, but something inside you always resisted. Jung believed that rare personalities experience a kind of inner rebellion when forced to live inauthentically. He called it neurosis, not a flaw, but a symptom of the soul's refusal to be silenced. You can't settle for surface-level lives. You need depth in your conversations, values in your work, and purpose in your actions. You may be misunderstood as idealistic or intense, but Jung knew this wasn't naivety. It was clarity. You simply can't pretend the script is enough. And this insistence on meaning puts you in a difficult but powerful position. You become a mirror to others, showing them what they've abandoned in themselves. Jung wrote that those who live symbolically challenge collective unconsciousness just by existing. Your refusal to live a numb life helps others remember what aliveness feels like. 6. You've outgrown versions of yourself, and others may not like it. Growth in Jungian psychology isn't linear, it's transformative. It requires letting go, not just of roles and environments, but of versions of yourself that were once necessary for survival. If you've noticed that you no longer feel at home in the places or relationships that once defined you, that's not loss, that's evolution. Jung described this as psychological death and rebirth. It often comes with grief, not just for the people you lose, but for the person you used to be. Others may resist your change. They might try to pull you back into old patterns saying, "You've changed." But what they really mean is, you're no longer playing the role I'm comfortable with. This period, what Jung called the dark night of the soul, is a test. Can you remain true to yourself even when it costs you familiarity? The answer must be yes, because when you cross that threshold, you begin attracting people who don't need you to shrink to be loved. Before we go on, if this video is helping you understand yourself on a deeper level, consider sharing it with someone who's also walking this inner path. And if you'd like to support thoughtful content like this, you can click the thanks button below. Your presence here truly helps. Now let's continue. 7. You create a healing presence without trying. You've probably been told you're easy to talk to, or that people feel calmer around you. This isn't a coincidence. Jung believed some people carry a natural holding space within them, a capacity to be fully present, deeply empathetic and energetically safe. When others are around you, they feel seen. You don't fix, you witness. You don't impose, you invite. This kind of presence is profoundly healing in a world addicted to noise and performance, but it can come at a cost. You may become the emotional caretaker in every space, constantly giving without being given to. Over time, this leads to burnout and quiet resentment. Jung warned about this dynamic, calling it helper syndrome, a shadow pattern where self-sacrifice replaces self-connection. The remedy isn't becoming colder, it's becoming more discerning. Your presence is powerful, but it must include you too. You deserve to receive what you so naturally offer. 8. You sense a deeper purpose you can't always define. There's a quiet pull in your life, a knowing that you're here for something more. Even when you can't name it, it's there. Jung called this the transcendent function, the psyche's inner drive to unify, evolve, and align with something greater than the ego. This isn't about ego inflation, it's about authenticity. You may feel restless, like you're waiting for the pieces to fall into place. You may resist conventional paths because they feel too small. That's not dysfunction, that's calling. Jung taught that those who feel this inner pressure aren't delusional. They're responding to the self, the deeper part of you that sees your life not just as a survival story, but as a meaningful journey. But Jung also warned against turning this into superiority. Your task is to live your truth, not impose it. To embody depth, not perform it. Because people like you don't just find meaning, you help create it for